Hey everyone, doing a VR for Jason, Mr. Fisherbike today. He wants us to show 10 vintage cards. Now, I've seen like a lot of these responses that I've watched. What I've enjoyed is that people are kind of putting their own spin on it. So it's 10 vintage cards with a little bit of a twist, maybe to make it more sort of like individually tailored or what have you. So partly what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to copy Drew, that is the Drew, a Vintage Legacy. I just watched his response video, and what he did was he showed 10 cards, vintage cards that he still can't really believe that he has in his collection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show 5 cards like that. So I'm going to show 5 cards that I can't really believe that I own. Um, and then I'm going to show, in contrast, I'm going to show 5 vintage cards that you can own today, if you want. That is to say, vintage cards that are quite affordable. In my opinion, great affordable vintage buys. Of course, understanding that affordable is relative. So let's start off with so I'm gonna do the 5 that I cannot believe I have in my collection. And these are basically going to be ones that if I wanted to buy these today, I probably couldn't. So let's start off with the 1952 Bowman Willie Mays. This is, of course, a second year Willie Mays. In my opinion, it is a nicer looking card than his rookie. I think it's vertical and it makes better use of space. It's a nicer picture. I should say a nicer illustration based on a picture. But yeah, so I really love this card, and it is one that I just simply would not have in my collection if I were to try to buy it today. So can't believe I have this card, 52 Bowman Willie Mays. Following the same pattern, one that I simply could not buy today if I wanted to. That is the 54 Topps Jackie Robinson. This is probably my most shown card on my channel, I imagine. The other thing about this is, maybe as you can see, this card is absurdly undergraded. It has a 4, which means that I was able to get a card like this at a discount, even, back when I got it. It wasn't cheap, but it was much cheaper than now. And for the condition, it certainly was a bargain. Look at this thing. A 4? So anyway, I don't know. I would give it at least a 6, maybe a 7. But anyway, 54 Topps Jackie Robinson. I really truly have few true regrets in my collecting life. I don't sort of dabble in, regret or coulda, woulda, shoulda. One instance of that, though, is that I did not buy more Jackie Robinson cards before the pandemic. But at least I got this one. Moving on, same deal. The 55 Sandy Koufax rookie. This is one that I got. I would say I got seriously into collecting sports cards around 2017. And I got this one fairly early on. Sandy rookie wouldn't have one today if I wanted to. So, can't believe it's in my collection. Now, this is maybe the only one that is, I actually bought it fairly recently, and it wasn't cheap. I just thought it was a good deal based on the condition and price relationship. 55 Hank Aaron second year. Can't believe I have this card in my collection. And it was one of those cards that I never thought I would because I didn't get one. You know, some of these big vintage cards, all the other ones, you know, I got them pre-pandemic. And this one I got post-pandemic. So I still can't believe that I have this one in my collection. Nice 55 Henry Aaron. So okay, all right, and then the last one is a little bit interesting. It's mainly just because it's quite rare, and it's also a rare card in better condition than most of them are. I have here a 1964 Topps Venezuelan Harmon Killebrew, and I love this card. Of course, the Venezuelans much more scarce than the regular American Topps. This one, I mean, Hall of Famer, and the 64s are nice because they actually have a different back on them. So the 54 Venezuelans have a black back, these black and red backs, whereas, of course, as you probably know, the standard Topps. So here's a nice Frank Robinson. They have these orange backs, right? These bright orange backs. So the difference in the backs is quite striking, which is one reason I really like the 64 Venezuelans. So like I said, in better condition than most, if you can find one, these Venezuelan cards tended to have the backs all torn up. I believe it had something to do with the glue that they used on packs or people putting them in albums or something. So anyway, yeah. Now with these Venezuelans, I will say that basically there's 2 years of Venezuelans that I'm particularly interested in, and I'm not super into the other Venezuelans for this reason. So the 64, as you know, like I said, it has the black back instead of the orange back. But the 62s are also cool because they actually have Spanish on the back. So they were released in Venezuela, but the 62s actually have Spanish on the back, whereas all the other releases of Topps Venezuelan, I think, have just English on the back. They basically just reprinted the cards on much cheaper stock. But for that reason, the 62 and the 64, because they have qualities that are different than the regular Topps, I'm into them particularly. So I'm super happy to have this Harmon Killebrew, and I hope that I can get a 62 sometime, a 62 Venezuelan. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys 5 vintage cards, that in contrast with these first 5 that I showed, you can get for a very affordable price, and I think you should do that because they're great vintage cards. So why don't we just start off with what I think is this is one of my favorite cards that I own. 1959 Topps Bart Starr. This is a third year. We don't really dabble beyond second year, right? Junior season, not sophomore season. Bart Starr card. This is just a beautiful card. Look at this thing. And believe it or not, you can get one of these for a very modest price. And I'm talking modest. I recently checked eBay sold listings. I saw a recently sold ungraded copy of this card. It sold in decent condition, $40. PSA 6s like this one, a little bit more than that, and more than I paid for this one. But still, you might be surprised at how modest the prices are. You know, vintage football cards in general, I think, are just such a great way, an affordable way, more affordable way to add great vintage cards to your collection. I think it might have been, well, somebody said that, I remember. It might have been Mangini. He said that like there's like three vintage football cards that are expensive. The Bart Starr rookie, the Johnny Unitas rookie, and the Jim Brown rookie. Which is a little bit of an exaggeration, right? But it's kind of true. Vintage football, very modestly priced. Even, I have a second year Bart Starr. I have this one. Check these out if you don't have them. Here's a 1956 Topps Warren Spahn in a coveted GAI 3. I'm kidding. Warren Spahn in general, so this card, very modestly priced. Warren Spahn in general, probably, besides the 40s Bowman and Leaf stuff, is very modestly priced. Warren Spahn in general. Spahn is just truly one of the greatest pitchers of all time. And he is not quite as hobby good as some other, all-time great old-timer pitchers. So, 56 Warren Spahn, or any Warren Spahn, definitely a good pickup. And hey, how about we move to another all-time great Brave, who is kind of in the same boat as Spahn. How about Eddie Matthews? 500 home run club, all-time great Brave again. Eddie Matthews, of course, the notable exception being his spectacularly pricey rookie card, the 52. Basically, every other Eddie Matthews card is very modestly priced. Even I would recommend, although I don't have one, I would also recommend getting the 53 Topps Eddie Matthews, which compared to his rookie, it's night and day in terms of price. So, yeah. Okay, moving on. How about a 58 All-Star Selection Mickey Mantle? Now, the reason I say this card is because this is if you want a genuine vintage Mickey Mantle card in your collection and you don't want to, break the bank, consider this one. It's still pretty modestly priced. I would say this is probably the most cost, affordable vintage Mantle card where it's just Mantle. It's not a multiple player card. 50s, which is kind of the quintessential Mantle in my opinion, right? You gotta get a 50s Mantle. And just a great looking card. Now, of course, the disclaimer here is that there's no shortage of these, which is, hey, it's a good thing because it means you can pick one up. So I think these, along with maybe Stan Musial, were triple printed, maybe because of their popularity. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think they might have been triple printed. So, hey, get your hands on a 58 All-Star Mantle if you don't have one. And then finally, I've got this 1961 post, or sorry, 62 post, Hank Aaron. So this is just one example of, this is more like, why don't you pick up this kind of card? These 60s postcards are such a good deal. They're so affordable, and you can get great players. Roberto Clemente, Aaron, Sandy Koufax, and they're just so comparatively affordable compared to their Topps issues of the same year, for instance. So, 62 post Hank Aaron. All right, guys. So, hope you enjoyed. As always, thanks for watching. Peace.